Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner Me episode, I have river and lake monsters and skinwalkers today, folks. Let's get into the first article, Stern's Monster of Grand Haven, Michigan, the 1909 lake creature that vanished, and read exactly, well, what happened to this supposed monster that hasn't been seen since the early 1900s, folks. Let's get into it now and read exactly what happened. In the summer of 1909, a series of late-night encounters along Stern's Bayou in western Michigan ignited fear, fascination, and speculation among residents and visitors alike. What multiple respected witnesses described was not a fleeting shadow or rumor, but a luminous physical creature observed at close range on multiple occasions. More than a century later, the Stern's Bayou monster remains one of the Great Lakes region's most compelling cryptozoological mysteries. The first report encounter occurred on the evening of August 9, 1909, near Stern's Bayou in Grand Haven. Charles Cotton, Herman Nyland, and Charles Shupp were staying with their families at the Gun Club cottage located near the Bayou Bridge. After briefly leaving the cottage to get ice cream, the men returned to find their wives shaken by strange noises coming from the water. Concerned, the three men went out to investigate. What they observed was later reported in the Grand Haven Tribune and described as a massive, hideous creature moving rapidly through the bayou. Witnesses said the head resembled that of a hippopotamus, while the body resembled a giant soft-shell turtle nearly 6 feet across. Trailing behind was a long, serpentine tail, estimated at 10 feet in length. Most striking was a phosphorescent glow emanating from the creature's underside, illuminating the water beneath it like a submerged searchlight. The men watched as the creature moved up the bay towards Clark's Pond, then submerged and disappeared. The Tribune emphasized the report carried weight due to the unimpeachable reputations of the witnesses, all of whom were well-known and respected citizens. The encounter triggered heightened anxiety along the bayou. Campers and farmers organized armed patrols, and on August 12th, as many as 8 men reportedly searched the shoreline with rifles, hoping to confront or drive off the creature. A second major sighting occurred on August 19th after George McCabe and his family took occupancy of the same cottage. That night, McCabe was sitting on the porch overlooking Stern's Bayou when he noticed a dark mass in the water emitting a faint glow. As it drew closer, McCabe claimed he clearly saw a round tub-shaped body propelled by large flippers, a long crocodile-like tail, and an elephantine head rising from a narrow extended neck. According to McCabe, the creature emerged from the water, climbed a sandy hill across the bayou, and dug a deep depression on the beach. After remaining there for nearly an hour, it returned to the water and vanished into the darkness. The following morning, McCabe rowed across the bayou to inspect the site. Digging into the sand, he claimed to have uncovered a massive egg, nearly spherical, yellow in color with red spotting, and roughly the size of a large pumpkin. While attempting to transport it by boat, the egg allegedly slipped overboard and was lost. Interest escalated further on August 23rd when a local business owner organized an expedition involving several original witnesses and Nathan Brown, a pioneering photographer known for aerial photography using kite-mounted cameras. The group reportedly captured an image of the creature, which was rushed to Chicago for reproduction as postcards. Days later, the Tribune announced that the photographic plate had been destroyed during transit. With that loss, the last physical evidence vanished, and no further sightings were reported. Okay, folks, what do we make of this particular river or lake monster, folks? It is certainly a very odd thing. Could it have been a misidentified animal? Perhaps, but the fact that the witnesses were of such high reputations makes me think that maybe they did indeed see what they saw. Remember, the fact that McCabe says he found this egg of said creature but then lost it makes me think that he was trying to tell a tall tale, because if he did indeed find evidence of a new species like this, folks, he'd be talked about right now to this very day. But the fact that he lost it is telling. Either way, folks, let's move on to the next article. Skinwalkers along Arizona's highways and valleys. Witnesses describe the old woman, the owl, and the watching presence. Let's get into this article and hear about these, well, people who have encountered skinwalkers, folks. Across the Navajo Nation, stories of skinwalkers are not folklore, but lived experience, passed quietly through families and reinforced by terrifying encounters from Snake Butte to the dark highways near Pinion and Low Mountain. Witnesses describe an identical presence that appears as an old woman, an owl, or something that watches and interferes. These accounts span generations and locations, forming a disturbing pattern that refuses to fade. One family recounts a story passed down from their grandfather involving a woman known simply as the Old Woman. She asked him to accompany her to Snake Butt while carrying a gunny sack filled with dog puppies. Upon reaching the butt, she instructed him to wait behind a rock and not to follow her, no matter how long she took. After more than an hour, curiosity overtook him. When he rounded the rock, he witnessed two massive snakes devouring the puppies, while the woman stood nearby, laughing with a cruel, unnatural tone. Moments later, she herself transformed into a snake and joined them. Terrified, he fled the 5-mile run home. Later, the woman confronted him, angry that he had watched her. From that day forward, his family avoided her entirely until she eventually disappeared from the area. Another witness describes a direct encounter while traveling late at night from Phoenix to Low Mountain with siblings. At approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, they noticed an elderly woman walking along the highway with a cane, dressed in a long black jacket and green dress. 15 miles later, after turning onto a dirt road, the same woman appeared again, walking beside the road. Panic set in as the realization hit that she could not have traveled the distance on foot. As they accelerated away, they encountered her yet again, now sitting in the roadway near a bridge, waving her cane. Their vehicle abruptly shut down as she stood and crossed the road, deliberately keeping her face hidden. When she finally turned toward them, her face was painted completely black. Only after she vanished did the car restart. The family later learned of an elderly couple in the area known for practicing harmful medicine. A third account comes from a New Year's Eve peyote blessing ceremony near Pinyon. While adults prayed in a teepee, children slept in a nearby hogan. A man noticed something moving outside, prompting armed family members to investigate with spotlights and rifles. Gunshots rang out as a creature was seen running through an arroyo, absorbing multiple hits without falling. Only after bullets were smeared with white ash did the entity finally flee the valley. The witnesses emphasized the seriousness of breaking ceremonial taboos, stating that the threat left them no choice. Another individual reports ongoing harassment rather than a single encounter. She describes shapeshifters watching her home, staying outside her window, and following her boyfriend. She recalls seeing a white owl stare directly at her during daylight. A week later, her father died, fulfilling what she believed was a warning delivered through that encounter. She strongly cautions against dismissing such experiences, stating that disbelief offers no protection. One couple describes a summer marked by persistent interference as they began dating. During an evening walk, a shadow darted behind a large cedar tree. When a rock was thrown, a massive bird or owl emerged far larger than any known species, with an estimated wingspan of 7 to 8 feet. The witness believes the shadow transformed into the bird before escaping. The unsettling activity continued throughout the summer, always appearing to disrupt their relationship. Finally, one witness shares teachings passed down by her father regarding Skinwalker initiation and behavior. According to these teachings, those who become Skinwalkers commit extreme acts to gain power and can transform into animals capable of outrunning vehicles. They wear animal skins, operate through jealousy, and use bones or remains to cause psychological and emotional collapse. Traditional weapons and ceremonies are said to be the only effective defenses, as conventional firearms offer no protection. Sounds very out there, doesn't it, folks? And if these entities do exist, I can imagine that actual weapons, guns that we use every day, folks, really are no effective way to combat these entities. But what about the first account we read about the day, folks, with this bizarre Stearns Bayou monster? Could it possibly be related to this phenomenon as well, folks? Because the idea of cryptoterrestrials or ultra-terrestrials is an idea that plays into these things as well, folks. Supposing that these supposed skinwalkers are actually some sort of interdimensional entities, only taking these forms because maybe they're trying to draw fear out of their witnesses, and this allows them to manifest more fully into reality. But then again, maybe actual skinwalkers, real witches like this, can draw energy from fear as well. So it could be the same phenomena, folks, but we don't know for sure. And with the Stearns Bayou monster, could it also have been maybe a skinwalker or an interdimensional entity manifesting into that bayou, folks? And the witnesses saw it? Perhaps, but we can't be for sure. All of it's very out there, isn't it, folks? And something we will have to learn about more in the future. But until then, folks, we can just keep striving forward till we can get to more of that information. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications, folks. Make sure you hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications. And please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.